WECU 1570 AM and W298BX 107.5 FM, Winterville, North Carolina.
And now it's time for Family Health Matters with your host, Miss Wendy Bridgers, First Lady, RN. She is a registered nurse for over 35 years, and she has graduated from North Carolina Central University and has received her Master of Science degree in nursing from East Carolina University. She also holds a certification in the care of adult medical and surgical patients. She is a wife, mother, and born-again child of the Most High King.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Family Health Matters. I'm your host, Wendy Bridgers, and we are live in the studio today with our special guest. Is returning. She's just so wonderful. I'll just have her as often as I can. We have Kiara Robbins with us, our exercise physiologist, soon to be doctorate. So we're just waiting on that and enjoy celebrating that with us. But I just wanted to welcome you all. It's a beautiful day outside, and we're going to be talking about exercise again. Our topic for today is setting smart exercise goals for success. All of us wants to be successful in everything we do. So today, Kiara is going to share some information with us that's going to help us set those goals that's attainable. And we're rolling into May. So May is Fitness Month,
Yes,
right?
it is. Yes, it
National
is.
Fitness Month. And so we're going to jump ahead of the game because we're going to set up some things that's going to help us be successful for the month of May and the rest of the summer. So welcome, Kiara, back to Family Health Matters. I'm so glad you could be with us on today.
Yes.
So
Well, thank you for having me as always. I'm excited to talk about my passion of exercising and promoting exercise and healthy lifestyles to everyone.
all right, all right. And if you're listening or tell somebody to join us, we're on Facebook Live. So just go under Awesome Radio and search for Family Health Matters and join us. And we'll be also on YouTube. So join us today. So we talked about the topic setting smart goals. So
Yes.
Kiara, tell us about smart goals. What are smart goals? And
Yeah. So, I think we all set goals for ourselves, but we want to set smart goals and not just regular, too big of a goal. Sometimes I think we set these major goals of like, I want to lose 40 pounds, or if I want to lose 60 pounds, I want to go to the gym every day, and I'm going to work out for 30 minutes. We want to try to set smart goals, which are very specific goals. We want to make sure they're measurable. We want to make sure they're attainable. We want to make sure they're also reasonable, and we can get them in a timely manner. So what I mean by that, I kind of threw out some different ideas there. So I will stick with like, I want to start going to the gym on a day-to-day basis. And when I hear someone tell me that, I'm like, well, what do you mean you want to go to the gym on a day-to-day basis? Or, how long are we talking? We're talking 10 minutes? Are we talking about 20 minutes, 30 minutes? And we want to get a little bit more specific. So, and maybe our goal should be, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week for 30 minutes, and I want to do that for a month. And then we meet that goal, we start to feel very successful for that goal, then we can kind of add on to it or expand from that.
okay, so you said they have to be specific, right?
Yes,
Measurable.
yes.
Okay, and then
We want to make sure there's also attainable. We want to make sure that we're able to attain this goal. We don't want to set ourselves for failure. So sometimes we set these bigger goals of I want to lose 60 pounds, which I think is a great goal, but we want to make it a little bit smaller goal for maybe the month of May. My goal is to lose 5 pounds. So let's do a smaller goal that's going to be obtainable within that month.
okay, so something obtainable. So I guess it does make sense smart then. And then it's reachable.
Yes.
And then it's time. So we need to look at something that's specific. So we have
Yes.
to have some boundaries.
Yes,
Okay.
boundaries. That is absolutely true. There, we want to make sure we want to have a goal that's reasonable for you, that's meaningful for you, and that's going to make you more successful. So we just, I'm going to go to the gym, or I want to lose 20, 30 pounds because my doctor said so. Well,
Right.
yeah, we might need to do that, but why do you want to go to the gym? And we want to make those goals a little bit more reasonable and more specific to your wants and needs, so that way we can make sure you're successful.
Okay. And so it needs to be something that you want to obtain, because and I know we often say the doctor says we need to do this, and that's good, and that is a wake up call that we can have from the doctor, but it has to be something that you want in order
Yes.
to be able to stick to it.
Yes, and sometimes those it can be motivational, and then sometimes your doctor might be a little bit more specific to tell you, you have to start exercising before I can offer you this medication or before I can offer you this type of surgery. And I might give you a little bit more motivation there, and that might be what you need, but still I like to try to remind everyone of what is important to them. Yes, you want the surgery, but what else do you want to succeed from when it comes to your exercise program?
Okay, so obtainable, something that you know how people usually say, if you how do you eat an elephant? You eat it a little bit at a time. So that goes back to what you were saying about not making your goals so big until you get frustrated halfway through it.
Yes.
And
So
then end up stopping.
what I like to do, we all start with those New Year's resolutions, right? And,
Yes, yes,
and,
yes.
You might say by the end of the year, maybe by the end of 2025, I want to lose 40 pounds. But that's not a SMART goal. So yes, you have, specifically, I want to lose 40 pounds, but how? How are you going to do that? Are we going to go to the gym on a day-to-day basis? Are we going to do 30 minutes of exercise on a day-to-day basis? Or are we going to change some of our eating habits? Are we going to start walking more? So I want you to get even more specific about how we're going to attain this goal. Because if we set that goal too big and too vague, it's not going to become successful. So, right, that's why I always give everybody a big goal, but let's start with the smaller goals. So let's start off with, for the month of May, I want to lose 5 pounds, but I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week for 30 minutes, and I'm going to change my eating habits by adding more veggies or by calorie counting. So we're getting very specific about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it to attain that goal that we're looking for.
Okay. And what was the R was relevant? What was the R for?
I say kind of reasonable or relevant, or how is meaningful to you.
Okay,
Right?
okay. So, and then time. So we have to set us a window.
Yes, you want to
Yeah.
set that window.
Why is that important? Why is setting that time frame?
Well, any goal, you want to make sure you set a restricted time. You want to give yourself a time, basically an end goal. If you kind of leave that time range a little open there, it kind of leaves that goal open. So we want to make sure we give ourselves a time frame that we can try to be successful for this program here.
Oh, okay. So that helps people who procrastinate.
Yes, I
So-
think we all do it. We all do it.
Because I know like you said, we have these big ideas or these big goals, and unless we sit down and plan it out,
Yes.
it says write the vision and make it
Yes.
plain so that you can actually obtain it. So that's good. So we're talking about SMART goals. So now you gave one example about going to the gym. So what's another example that related to exercise that we could do as far as a SMART goal is
Well,
concerned?
we can do resistance training, for example.
Okay.
Maybe you are doing cardio, or maybe you are exercising on a regular basis, and you are walking daily, but you notice that maybe you need to add resistance training, and we can do different ways of that as well. So maybe that SMART goal is starting on Monday, I'm going to reach out. Yes, we're going to reach out to a exercise professional to discuss exercising with resistance bands or exercising with body weight or adding a resistance training program. So that way you can start to add it into your regimen.
Okay, now I'm all about the gym.
Yes.
But if we do not have a gym, what are some resistance training or resistance pieces of equipment or what we can use without going to the gym?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I always can give you a whole bunch of lists there.
That's right. That's why I asked you.
Your body weight is always great, but let's think about SMART goals, right?
Okay.
Maybe I can't reach out to that exercise professional to give me this guidance, or I can't make it to a gym. So let's talk about that SMART goal to maybe start to YouTube body weight exercises for 10 minutes to start training, to learn how to do body weight exercises such as squats, sit-to
Now
stands.
you were talking really fast just
Oh,
then.
I'm sorry.
What did you say? You said YouTube. Is that
YouTube,
what-
YouTube. You can go to Facebook.
Okay,
You can
all right.
go to Apple Fitness. You have all these different resources that are free that you can reach out to and look up some of these resistance training exercises. So let's make it a specific goal. So on Monday, I'm going to research a YouTube video that shows to me a body weight exercise program that I can do, and I'm going to do it for 10 minutes.
Okay.
That's something that we can do because a lot of times we talk about we don't have enough time, but we can do 10 minutes. We can do 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So resistance with using your body.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All righty. So what else can I use for resistance?
Well, if you don't have, if you want to add a little bit more resistance and you don't want to do body weight, you can always do grabbing like canned food items. You can always, grab cartons of milk or milk jugs. That is always the go-to items. Bottles of water. And I know you're probably thinking that's not a lot of weight. You don't need a lot of weight. You don't need a lot of
Okay.
weight. Lots of repetitions is just as beneficial as you were doing just body weight or
Oh, okay.
heavier weight. So I can go into a whole detail about that.
But I like that because of what you said, because sometimes people think that, I need to be able to lift a certain amount to be able to get results. So it's not necessarily the amount of weight that you're lifting.
Yeah, so it just varies. So it really just depends. If you're doing a lighter weight, we might need to do more reps or we might need to do a little bit longer. And so that kind of volume to ratio or your intensity is going to be really important to make sure you're successful. And you're not sure of your intensity. Once again, I always recommend going to talk to an exercise professional. They can help guide you to what is going to be best for your workout regimen and what's going to be best for you whenever you're exercising. And it's going to fit in your schedule.
Okay, especially if you're blocking off 10 minutes or
Yeah, just
with your SMART goals, a little bit at a time.
Yes, I have a lot of people who do those 10-minute quick workouts throughout the day, and you do that 3 times a day, you hit your 30 minutes.
Ah, that is true. That's good. That's good. That's good. Now, when you said rep, okay, tell me, I know what they are, but
Yeah.
share with us a little bit more about what reps are.
Reps or repetitions, right? So how many times you're actually doing the movement. So if we have some water bottles and we're doing a bicep curl, which is going to work on the front of the arms, and we're curling those weights up and down. And if your personal trainer or your exercise professional tells you you're going to do 3 sets of reps, you're going to do, you're going to do 10 sets of, I can't get my words, 3 sets of 10. There we go. 3 sets of 10. So that means you're going to do 10 reps of the bicep curls 3 times.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. So you need to do more than just one.
Yes.
Well, I did it and be done with it. No. Okay. All right. So that was resistance. Okay. What about, I got to keep my heart straight. So what about cardiovascular?
Oh, cardiovascular. So home, cardiovascular wise, you could always, I say it all the time, walk.
Uh-huh.
That is the most important thing. If you are able to walk, definitely try to walk. If for whatever reason you're not able to walk, once again, YouTube videos online, and they will show you some cardio exercises that are going to get your heart rate up. So cardiovascular is working on the heart. We want to make sure we're increasing our heart rate in some way or form.
Okay. Even those chair exercises,
Some of those
people
chair
think
exercises.
that's just a little, but you do enough of the chair exercise, you can get that heart pumping.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could YouTube like chair Zumba. That's always fun. You could do a whole Zumba class seated. You could do your dance classes seated. You could do the resistance training seated. There are lots of resources out here. And if you are able to YouTube it or look on Facebook, there are so many videos that are out here that allows for you to be able to exercise on a day-to-day basis. And once again, 10 to 15 minutes. That's all we're asking for to start off. And then maybe we could progressively make it longer and longer. But your goal is 30 minutes a day.
Okay. Yeah. So there's really no excuse. No excuse whatsoever. So we want to get the heart pumping.
Yes.
Okay, we want to get the heart pumping. And just to throw this out here, before you start any really exercise regimen, you need to consult
Yes.
your provider just to make
Always.
sure that everything is in order, that you're not going to stress yourself or
Yes.
cause any complications, because we want you to be healthy. We want you to make it through
Yes.
your goal. We want you to be successful. Okay, so we just want to put that out there. Now, flexibility in
Ooh, yeah.
neuromuscular.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit.
So flexibility and neuromuscular, those are 2 separate things, but they're kind of put together. But flexibility, that's when we're talking about improving our range of motion. So these are typically our yoga classes. These are our yoga pai chi, or our kind of our more, I was going to say Pilates, but it's not Pilates, more of those mobility classes. So whenever we're stretching, that's going to be under the flexibility. Your goal is to try to stretch daily for about 20 to 30 seconds, those big major muscle groups. So
okay.
trying to reach for the toes, trying to reach reach above the head and bring the arm behind you. You want to try to stretch out those muscles because we are exercising, we're working them, and over time they start to get constrained, and we want to make sure we are also relaxing them and stretching them back out.
Okay.
And neuromuscular is actually more of our stabilizer groups, so our smaller muscle groups, so our balancing. Those are very important tools that we need to practice and work on. So how do we do that? Do 30 seconds of balancing daily if you can, or maybe you're going to a Tai Chi class, or maybe you are doing a heel-to-toe tightrope walk. Those are some options there too.
Okay, that's great. And now, do we stretch? Is stretching the same thing as flexibility? Is that stretching?
Kind of putting it's kind of put group together. So
Uh-huh.
there's multiple ways on how we can stretch or how we can improve our flexibility. So ideally, before you start to exercise, especially if you're doing resistance training or if you're going to do any cardio, we are doing dynamic stretching, meaning we are allowing our joints to go through the full range of motion, allowing our muscles to go through the full range of motion. So we're not doing static stretching, which is that sitting down and reaching for the toes. We want to make sure we're moving the body, getting the blood flowing to help kind of add the elastics to the muscle groups. Then after you do your workout, say you did 30 minutes of working out, then for about 5 minutes after, you want to cool down by doing static stretches, which is holding and stretching those muscles as far as it can go
Okay.
at a comfortable pace. So if you're on a scale of 1 to 10, you kind of want to be at that 5 to 7 range, where it's not too comfortable, but just enough where you're not pushing yourself too far, where you can strain yourself.
Okay, good, good. So once you finish that walk, or before you start to walk, you should do some stretching.
Yes.
Get those muscles flexed.
Now-
More flexible.
Yeah, a great example of just going with walking. So with walking, let's just take a nice light pace. We could probably have a nice conversation. That could be a dynamic stretch that we're doing because we're getting the
Okay,
blood
okay.
pumping.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we're making emphasis on our heel to toe movement. Maybe we're doing a backwards walking even, right? Working on the kind of the muscles in the front of our shins and everything like that. That can be an example of a dynamic warm up. And then when you're going to the actual walk itself, they're like, aren't we ready walking? Yes, but we're going to actually get to our intensity up a little bit. So maybe we're pumping the arms. Maybe we're
Okay.
able to have a light conversation, but we're not having a full conversation like we are here. And at the end, maybe we'll sit down and then we'll just stretch and reach for our toes, or we're reaching above the head to try to stretch out the size of our obliques and everything like that.
Okay, good, good, good. So we don't want to hurt ourselves.
No,
don't want to hurt ourselves.
Everything you
Okay.
take your time and make sure you warm up and make sure you cool down as well. And
Okay.
hydrate.
Hydrate. Okay, yeah, good. Hydrate. Okay. And so now, with all of that, how much exercise do we need to get in there?
It just varies, depends. So the recommendation for exercise for adults 18 and over will be 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 to 5 days a week of moderate intensity. So when we talk about that moderate intensity, that's that light conversation on a scale of 1 to 10. We're somewhere around like a 5, 4 to 5 range, maybe a 6. We want to make sure we're trying to do that 3 to 5 days a week. Now, as you have other populations, such as like adolescents and kids, their recommendations are different. They're supposed to get 60 minutes daily.
Oh, okay. That was going to be my next question about that. So 60 minutes. Okay.
Yes, they're supposed to be exercising 60 minutes daily. Well, I say exercising, being physically active, 60 minutes daily. And
Okay.
ideally, we're hoping that they will get this in school, but sometimes they don't. And
Right.
they may not. And we are trying to encourage them as much as we can outside of school to be active as well. Because sometimes they only get 30 minutes of recess, or they only have 30 minutes of free time outside, or they're not getting gym daily.
Yeah.
So it does vary.
Yeah, because I don't know too many places that do exercise. Recess anymore. Like back in the day, we used to call it recess.
I think it stops at right at elementary school. So once they get to
Yeah,
middle school,
yeah.
it's a little different.
And adolescents, they still need that exercise.
Yep, the recommendations
Yeah.
for 2 to 17-year-olds are going to be that 60
Okay.
minutes.
So what do you, if you have children that, well, because of society and everything, that don't like to exercise and don't like to go outside, or may not have grass and things to go outside to, what can we as parents do to help keep that exercise going?
Well, it does vary. So I definitely like to tell everyone, not everybody is an athlete. Not everyone is interested in sports. Not everyone wants to do basketball, or they want to do soccer. They don't want to go outside. I understand that. But there are other opportunities and other ways that they can be physically active. So, for example, if they have a Wii, if they have the Oculus, if they have some of these more was going to say, more dynamic kind of movement type of tools, use those. The Oculus, I've had one that's the virtual reality. You can burn some calories with that. Or just getting inside and doing a little Zumba video. They have Zumba Kids exercises online. Same thing. They can YouTube things as well. But also, what's going to help is when you're doing it with them.
That's true.
So we want to lead
yeah.
as by example. Let's get involved with them and work out with them as well. And they're going to enjoy it. They're going to have fun.
Right. That's good to make it a game.
Yes, yes.
And that's right. I like that lead by example, because if you sitting down telling me to go do something and I'm seeing you looking, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, why do I have to go outside in the hot sun and you staying here in the air conditioning? So that's good. And that gets our 30 minutes in as well.
Exactly. So you can do it together.
Yeah, and get our
maybe-
goals met, our SMART goals met.
Maybe it's taking a walk outside together around their neighborhood, or maybe we're doing a Zumba dance together online, or maybe we're playing these games that are like I said, the Oculus, or we're playing some tag, things like that. Especially if we have a neighborhood that has a lot of kids in there, so more people that are involved, that community
Right.
will be very important.
Yeah, you could be the house where all the children hang out.
Yes.
So everybody want to go to your house because you have all the exercise things. And a ball is just as, can be great to use, just a kickball, just to get some exercise in. So in all of this, I just want to just say that we don't have to make it, people use the excuse, I don't have access to a gym. I don't have access to somebody like you
Yes.
that's a professional. But there you have introduced us to some ways that we still can have those same benefits. And, doing the YouTube, doing the Facebook, and then, TV shows. Some TVs have that. Have some exercise shows on it too. So there's no excuse. It goes
Yes,
back to there's
and
no
I also
excuse.
recommend looking within your community, especially getting to this time of the year where it's starting to get nice and warm. There are going to be a lot of free events, free walks where people are going to try to meet. There might be some free yoga classes. There might be free Zumba classes all around. So just look within your community too.
Okay, great. Well, let's take a few minutes with the last couple of minutes that we have. Talk about people with some chronic illnesses or chronic
Yes.
disease. How do we get those exercises in?
Well, even if you have a chronic disease, once you get cleared by your physician, we always want to make sure we include that. And they say that, yes, we want you to exercise, or yes, you are cleared to exercise. It is just as beneficial for you. It might vary depending on what disease or what chronic disease that you're dealing with, but it's still, exercise is medicine, is a form of medicine where you might be doing this for 30 minutes, maybe it's daily, maybe it's 3 times a week, but movement. Our bodies are made to move, and the more we move, the better results we're going to get. I know I work with Parkinson's patients, and I see the benefits just from them exercising on a day-to-day basis. But 150 minutes is the goal typically for a lot of our chronic diseases. Might vary. So for example, if you have diabetes or if you have obesity, it might be you want to do cardio daily. So it might be 30 minutes every day. So it just varies, but you will just have to talk with your doctor, or get your doctor to refer you to somebody such as myself or another exercise professional who can help you successful with those goals.
Right. So just because you have a chronic disease doesn't mean that you shouldn't be. And that should, I won't say should encourage you, but we all should be encouraged
Yes.
to do that. And just a little bit of exercise is better than no exercise at all.
Yes.
So that's a good point that we need to make, that that we can't go back to say you can't use anything for exercise. Now just one more second. I know Parkinson's disease it's new.
Yes.
Well, not the disease, I'm sorry, not the disease process, but the exercise piece that go along with it.
Yes.
And I know that's one of the things that you've worked a lot with.
Yes.
Just maybe 1 minute or so. Tell us a little bit more about that
So,
and how that's working.
Yeah, so for years when people were being diagnosed with Parkinson's, it was basically they were told to go home and just wait. And research has shown that exercise is actually the goal for them. So as soon as you get diagnosed, our goal in particular for me is for your physician to refer you to somebody like myself, because as soon as you start to exercise and you start to build your strength, we build on the cognitive exercises, we burn neuromuscular training, flexibility. It actually delays the onset of the actual Parkinson's. Does not stop it, but it will delay the symptoms that you might see. It might delay also some of those other cognitive side effects that we're starting to see when it comes with Parkinson's. So with anything, the sooner we can get started, the better.
Okay, so sooner you can get that exercise plan going and set those smart, measurable goals,
Yes.
the more beneficial things will be. So as we close, because our topic is setting smart exercise goals for success.
Yes.
So how do we do with success? I met my goal. I did my 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So now, how important is celebrating?
Oh, absolutely. We celebrate every little goal. That means I made it to the gym. I'm celebrating with everyone. I'm happy to see you. So if you get there and you need to be happy that you made it there, because that's the hardest part, is to get there or to
I
get
know,
started.
me.
Once you get started, you need to encourage yourself or tell someone, just track it somehow. But those small goals like that and you being successful is so important. And if you're not sure what to do, or if you're not sure how to get started or where to get started, ask someone. We'd rather you be successful than you not to be successful because you didn't know what to do.
All right, good. And how important it is to have a partner? What do you feel about having
I think
somebody?
it is good. It just varies, depends on each person, but it is always good to have an accountability partner to
Okay,
make sure
so-
that you're going in and working out too.
Okay, so find a friend to help with those SMART goals again. And now tell us really quickly about what the acronym SMART goals is. What do they stand for?
So we want to make sure that they're specific. We want to make sure that they're measurable, they're attainable, they're relevant to you, and they're time specific as well.
Okay, and then after we've met those goals, then we're going to celebrate.
We're going to celebrate, and then we're going to set another goal.
That's right. That's the key. That's the key. Once you've been successful, then always keep one going. So we have you all, everybody out there, you set up for May. So let's set some SMART goals that we can be successful with our exercise plan. Kiara, thank you so much for being here with us on Family Health Matters. We appreciate your knowledge and your willingness to share with us.
Absolutely. Well, I'm happy to share, and thank you everyone for listening.
All right. Again, join us next week, Thursday from 3 to 3:30 on Family Health Matters on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM. And don't forget, follow us on Facebook as well. Have a great evening, everybody.
Hello to our Awesome Radio friends and partners.